Here now to react is Peter Brookes from the Heritage Foundation. So, Peter, what do you think they were trying to achieve with this attack? Because, you know, there weren't Americans inside, but obviously, they want to get some sort of a reaction.
Well, Iran has a number of audiences, of course, right? They have their internal audience. They have an audience in Iraq. I mean, Melissa, how can it be that a country has a militia in another country? I mean, in other words, this terrorist group, Kataib Hezbollah, operates on behalf of Iran, and it's operating in Iraq. I mean, this is just incredible when you think about it. But they're trying to show that to their supporters in Iraq that they will not stand for what the United States has done in terms of these strikes, and they're also trying to look strong internally in Iran, which has a number of problems, from social discontent to economic problems, that they will stand up to the United States, who they have been propagandizing about for so many years.
Well, it's telling in and of itself that in the Ayatollah's statement, he said they would talk if we would take the sanctions off.
Right.
I mean, it was nothing about, you know, the attack that supposedly led to this retaliation or any of the other conflict in the region or even other relationships. The thing that they wanted specifically was money. What does that tell you?
Well, look, they're involved in so many bad activities in that part. I mean, Iran is a bad actor, and I would say it's probably one of the biggest threats to international security. Think about it: Syria, Yemen, foreign terrorist organizations, what they're doing in Iraq, the Persian Gulf, attacking tankers, the attack on Saudi oil, et cetera, et cetera. So they don't want to talk about those things. They think that they are being treated badly by the United States because of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action and the Iran deal. So he doesn't want to bring those other problematic issues up, Iran's international behavior. He's saying, look, we'll talk if you back off of these sanctions. But he has real problems. I mean, I think some international economic organizations are saying that Iran's economy is going to contracted by almost 10% last year, and it's not going to be any better this year. They're pumping less oil than they have ever pumped. So this is a tremendous problem for them. We've seen the protests in Iran. Maybe as many as 1,500 Iranians were killed by Iranian security forces. Yeah. So this country has a lot of problems, and they're mostly of its own doing.
But in terms of the actual provocation, so it reminds me of when they shot down the U.S. drone, and it's, you know, a sort of thing it's a violent action that is meant to be a show of strength, but it also seems like it's trying to dare the U.S. into firing a shot in some direction or something. Is that possible, or is that overthinking it?
I think, no, you're onto something there. I mean, I think they want to walk up to that red line. In fact, there were a number of attacks on U.S. installations starting in October. There was 10 or 12 of them, and no Americans were killed. And it wasn't until this most recent attack that an American was killed and a number of servicemen were wounded. And the president did what he said he would do, and he would respond to that. Because of that attack that it cost the life of American personnel or American citizens. So yeah. The Iranians want to walk up to the red line, but they don't want to cross it, because once again, they're trying to appeal to certain audiences, and that includes the Europeans, who they want to help them get around U.S. sanctions that have been levied upon them.
One of the points that the president made a while ago, and I think Mike Pompeo did as well, was rather than spending your money on all of these other things and attacking us, why don't you take care of your people at home?
Sure.
Your people at home are unhappy, they're starving, they're rioting. Is there any chance that any of that happens, or does the regime get toppled? Is there any change that's inspired from within the country?
Well, we've seen some of that. I mean, look at the protests we've seen. We've seen protests. There are a lot more protests going on than are reported in the Western press that we see. Iran is under a tremendous amount of pressure, and their biggest concern, Melissa, is that they will experience what they did in 1979 to the previous regime. There will be a counter-revolution. Yeah. So they're trying to keep the lid on this social cooker right now that could go in a direction that the regime does not want to see.
Peter Brookes, thank you.